Mark, well, the first thing I want to point out before we keep moving, in terms of that executive order, the vast majority of legal scholars say it would be unconstitutional. As you mentioned, birthright citizenship, as it's called, has been in place for 150 years, and that's because it was established under the 14th Amendment. Now, it doesn't make it a non-issue, and we'll talk about why a little later. Anyway, I wanted to hear from the candidates running for federal office in Washington what they had to say. Here's what they told me.
I would call on all elected leaders and candidates to say that the president is wrong.
Unsurprisingly, Lisa Brown, the Democratic candidate for Congress, is no fan of the president's new proposal.
I believe it's unconstitutional, and actually I think it could even be designed to distract people from some of the very real challenges we're facing in our country.
She isn't alone in believing an executive order to be illegal here. The Republican Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, himself called the idea unviable. A spokeswoman for Representative Kathy McMorris Rodgers sent us a statement reading in part, "Reforms to our immigration system should be made in accordance with the rule of law and the Constitution. Kathy supports the 14th Amendment." And there's nearly universal consensus from legal scholars that an executive order wouldn't work. However, there is, in theory, a chance an order could have a short-term impact before it gets challenged in court. And some, like Brown, say that even the prospect of this idea could be dangerous.
I believe that people will be afraid, and that in and of itself is damaging to people in our country and our community.
Also today, Senator Lindsey Graham announced he wants to propose legislation in Congress that would revoke birthright citizenship. Legal scholars are more divided on that. Some say a new amendment would have to be passed. Others think it's possible a regular law could have some effect. We asked Brown and CMR, as well as Senator Maria Cantwell and her Republican challenger Susan Hutchison, if they'd support such a bill. Brown and Cantwell both said no. We did not receive answers from McMorris Rodgers or Hutchison tonight. We did also get this statement from Cantwell. It says in part, "The president does not have the power to change the Constitution, and he should not waste taxpayer money just to be reminded of that fact. Trying to redefine citizenship 7 days before an election is an attempt to divert attention." Now, I also want to mention we did ask CMR's office for an interview to discuss this issue in more detail, and they did not accommodate that request tonight. Mark, Whitney?